Tonight, as Doomsday continues to bite hard, fresh controversy has erupted pitching the state power generator against private power producers. We'll hear from senior staff of VRA as they warn IPPs to stay off the assets. More from strongly worded statement from the VRA senior staff with fears of judgment debts in the power sector. Tonight, as Doomsday continues to bite hard, fresh controversy has erupted pitching the state power generator against private power producers. Senior staff of the Water Authority has been tearing into the chamber of IPP's Ghana and the ECG for what they refer to as, quote, clandestine moves to privatize the state power generator. According to them, some individuals and groups are discrediting the importance VRA plays in Ghana's power sector with the aim of selling it to their cronies. But the Senior Staff Association say they will use every means available to them to ensure Ghanaians enjoy affordable power by resisting the sale of VRA. They are also accusing ECG for underpaying VRA, which is threatening the financial survival of the authority. This is contained in a letter to their management for issues to be addressed, which Joy News has cited. My colleague Emefa Apawu joins me in studio with details of all of this letter to the management that we have seen. Now, Emefa, why is the association making the claim about, first of all, let's start from the curtailment of power. They are warning that something could happen.
Well, it's as part of an impact assessment, environmental impact assessment that was carried out during the feasibility studies phase of the project, indicates that the construction of the dam would cause an inundation of the northwestern plains of Togo and Benin. You know that there are threats now from Burkina Faso following that directive from the president for us to curtail power and supply locally. There could be the possibility of Burkina Faso also damming the Bagri Dam or expanding the Bagri Dam and start their own, power supply. Well, this situation caused the government of Ghana and the VRA back then to sign a bilateral agreement, and these two countries to supply them with electric power from their Konsombo Dam when the project was completed. Okay. So that's what we are currently, implementing until this latest directive. So for the Senior Staff Association, once we continue to curtail power to Burkina Faso and other neighboring countries like Ivory Coast, amongst others, it may lead to a judgment debt which will be paid by VRA, and the staff is concerned about that, and also will be paid by the people of Ghana, who are already burdened with several other payments once we continue to curtail power to Burkina Faso especially.
Now, they also go on to accuse Electricity Company of Ghana of some underpayment. What exactly are they saying?
Well, this issue about the cash waterfall mechanism, at least your desk has been on this matter for a while now. So the Senior Staff Association, as part of their communication to the leadership, also raised concerns. So a background to this, they say the cash waterfall mechanism was revised in August 2023 following the challenges with ECG complying with the existing guidelines per the cash waterfall mechanism, and they insist that this was aimed at enforcing the guidelines to enhance its effectiveness. It is instructive to state that per the revised CWM, ECG is required to pay a minimum of 1 billion Ghana cedis as energy sales revenue into the cash waterfall mechanism every month to be shared among players in the sector. Well, per the revised CWM, it guarantees a payment of $43 million and to the ECG contracted IPPs monthly. Now, the irony of this situation is that some IPPs who are not generating any megawatts onto the grid now are also paid from the cash waterfall mechanism. Now, the SOEs, especially VRA, are disadvantaged as they are not fully paid. And where they are even paid, they are not adequately compensated for the forex exchange losses as a result of the work that they do. So for them, this sadly defeats the objective of the revised cash waterfall mechanism, which was to ensure that revenues collected from the electricity market is allocated across the electricity market equitably and transparently, which for them is not being done. So in the recent validation of the ECG amount by the PricewaterhouseCoopers, the report mentioned that an analysis of their bank statement noted a net difference of 690 million Ghana cedis between total collections declared on the cash waterfall mechanism, approved schedules, and the inflows consolidated from the account statement. It goes on to give further explanations and how
they talk about, I mean, that they billed the ECG 1 billion, but only 300 million was captured by the cash waterfall mechanism.
Exactly.
They're asking who pays for the 700 million cedis that's left. So
and the impact on the work that they do.
Interesting. So it's the cash water mechanism is a whole lot of a whole ball game altogether. But they are also warning about some privatization that they've heard. What exactly are their fears?
So you know that we've heard from the CEO of the Independent Power Generators, the IPP Ghana, Dr. Elikuli Petogbo, and they wonder if his statement on electricity export by VRA and privatization of VRA's thermal assets in the media are his personal sentiment or the views of the group he purports to represent. So for them, that comment, first they want clarity on whether it was just his personal sentiment or is the IPP as a group that are pushing for the privatization of VRA. They also continue to say that they are aware of the clandestine efforts of some IPPs to take over VRA's export markets and thermal assets. Therefore, they are not surprised at such suspicious outbursts from the representative of their supposed partners. Now, they wish to reiterate that VRA is the only strategic state-owned providing and guaranteeing the energy security for the people of Ghana, and for that of its assets must be put on sale. The authority is efficient in operating, and they are concerned if there is any move for this privatization to happen. They say it should not happen, and that's the advice they are giving to management on this. We are yet to hear officially from the VRA following these concerns raised by the Senior Staff Association. That remains to be seen whether indeed VRA will be privatized or not, or even if there are talks for that to happen in the first place.
Thank you. That's my colleague Emefa Apawu there. Let's broaden this discussion by speaking to stakeholders in the space. And Dr. Kwabena Donkor is Ghana's former power minister. He joins us on the telephone now. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Let's start from the curtailment of power to our neighboring countries. What's the arrangement surrounding the supply of power to those countries?
I believe that question should be directed at the ministry or at VRA. As an outsider, I'm not in a position to speak about the arrangements.
Because you've been a minister of that sector before, that's why I wanted to find out from you. When you were the minister, what was the arrangement that you knew of?
Yeah, look, the export of power to neighboring countries is in Ghana's strategic interest. And therefore, it is unpatriotic for anybody to want to curtail that. Whoever curtails that is doing a disservice to Ghana. We had load shedding during our time. We never curtailed it. If it's arising out of the challenges you have, assuming you were to give 100 megawatts, and you speak to them that, look, we have challenges. So instead of 100, we will burden share. So you will have 60 or you will have 70. That is a position that everybody will understand. So that you are burden sharing. But if you are asked to curtail, not to supply them because we have domestic challenges and that it is in somebody's short political interest to supply all the power to Ghana to the exclusion of the neighborhood, then we are digging a very deep hole for Ghana. Look, the voter takes a source outside Ghana. Burkina can decide to put up more dams on their stretch of the Volta. If that happens, Ghana suffers. And that is why I'm saying this unpatriotic. And I say this with all seriousness. For anybody to want to disrupt the supply of power to our neighbors, it is in our national strategic interest, indeed, in our national security interest. That does not mean we cannot burden share. If we are candid, we have assume we have a generational shortfall of 300 megawatts. The domestic market, which is Ghana, can take part of the shortfall, and then we can talk to our neighbors and also reduce by some margin what we are contracted to sell to them. That is good neighborliness. That is what will protect the security of energy supply for Ghana.
So is it true what we're being told tonight that it's possible we can incur some judgment debt by that particular action to curtail power?
Well, we have contracts. And if you unilaterally decide not to honor contracts, there are consequences to contracts. Aren't they?
Sure, there are.
Yeah, there are. So, because of the temporary electoral gains that this government wants, and I am extremely disappointed, we are jettisoning the strategic national interest of Ghana. We are thinking of making Ghana the real center of the West African power pool arrangement. But if we exhibit such unreliability because of our own partisan interest, we also endanger that.
Okay. All right. Doc, stay on the line for me. Let me bring in Nana Amwesi the fifth. He is the executive director for the Institute of Energy Security. Nana, I'm grateful for joining us. Now, must the thermal plant of VRA, because of the financial state of the company, be privatized so to ensure efficiency?
Unfortunately, Kojo, I am struggling to hear you. If you could interrupt your voice a bit.
Nana, can you hear me now? Nana, can you hear me now?
It's better.
Okay, so I'm trying to find out from you whether it's good we privatize the thermal assets of the VRA, looking at the financial state of the company now.
Well, first we must ask what are the challenges operations of the Volta River Authority. They being inefficient, for which reason we want to introduce a supporting scheme. I strongly admit that we must privatize the VRA. We believe that if we have to do anything, we should start looking at downstream. It is the ECG system that has the challenges of power losses.
Hello, Nana. Nana Mwesi. Hello, Nana.
Hello, Kojo. Can you hear me?
So your line tripped a bit, but it's okay now.
Is it better?
Yes, please.
Good. So the ECG is the point within the value chain that has the inefficiency contributing to the low revenue we collect at the end of the day, and for which reason we are having this financial constraints in the sector. The ECG loses close to 30% of the power transmitted to them for technical and commercial reasons. And so we need to address those challenges in there so that the whole power system can be liquid enough to operate unhindered. And so if we have to do anything at all, then we should rather focus on ECG, but not VRA. VRA is at a very strategic position. Currently, as the VRA that the government uses to supply fuel to the IPPs. VRA are proven over time that they are also capable of operating thermal power units. They were the first to run an aerodynamic power unit in Ghana before the others were introduced. And so we won't support that idea. We must rather focus downstream and on ECG, but not the VRA.
Interesting there. But if you look at, the fact that we are in a state where we are even confronted with doom. So now we've had the VRA, which is the state power generator, fighting with the independent power producers. How do we then deal with that to ensure that the power sector itself is efficient?
Of course, we have seen clearly that the power sector is lacking that necessary leadership and to resolve some of these issues easily for us as a country. Over time, you've seen a rift between the PRC and ECG, a rift between the ECG and GRICO, and now it's between the VRA and the IPPs. I think that each of them play a special role and unique, task. If we can have a leadership that ensures that each part functions as it's designed, then of course this contradiction and conflict may not arise. But if you have a home minister who comes and say that PRC cannot have the timetable, and the PRC needs a timetable, it must provide one for itself, then it means that you are putting the ECG against the PRC. And so leadership is something that we're required to address some of these issues. And it's the wrong time to be seeing some of this thing play out. And we believe that when we have the right leadership, some of these issues may be addressed.
Okay. We've also been joined on the line by Ishmael Ejikum Hene. He's the Executive Director for the Kumasi Institute of Technology and Environment, KITE. I'm grateful to you, sir. It clearly appears the state-owned enterprises are at a disadvantage with regards to the cash waterfall mechanism. How must this be dealt with?
Well, so long as you have revenue shortfall and there is a firm promise to the IPPs to be paid a certain quantum of money, once that promise is honored, the amount of money left in the kitty will definitely not be sufficient. So what we also need to find out, clearly, if you look at what PRC, the report that the PRC provides on the cash waterfall mechanism, clearly, even the 1 billion that ECG is supposed to put in there, they are not able to do the 1 billion. And if they are not doing the 1 billion and the CD is depreciating, it means more and more of the limited amount that goes into the cash waterfall mechanism will end up being used to pay for the $43 million. So the way forward, this cash waterfall mechanism has always been a temporary measure. It's not the solution to the revenue shortfalls, the challenges in the sector. The bottom line is that the electricity that is sold, the money that is, you buy electricity and you sell the electricity, you should be able to account for the electricity that you bought and sold. Once every money that is supposed to be collected, mind you, the losses are already catered for by the PRC, the regulatory benchmark is catered for. So if every money, the 98% that they're supposed to collect, if that money is collected, everybody will be paid. That's the solution. The cash waterfall mechanism has always been a temporary measure to ensure that there's some transparency in how ECG pays or gives back the money that they collect from the customers. Long-term solution, the PRC regulatory benchmark says you buy electricity, you build electricity, you collect 98% of that. If that is done, everybody will be paid.
If you look at this, the letter that we've seen from the senior staff, they say that currently VRA is producing around 1,777 megawatt, of power, whilst the IPPs are doing a little over 800 megawatt, but they are still underpaid, and they talk of how that is affecting their finances in order to run the company. So, how must we deal with this to ensure that VRA is not run aground?
So yes, it's not just VRA; it's all the state-owned power utilities. Everybody will be struggling. The question that, the senior staff, I'm sure they understand it better than probably I do. The issue here is that it's not enough to say that they are only doing 39% of the current generation capacity. We need to ask why, because in that statement they said they have about 2,150 megawatts available, but they are only doing 856. The question is that if they are not producing because we haven't given them fuel, mind you, we've signed contracts with IPP to say that we will give them fuel. If they are not running their generators because you haven't given them fuel, then you still pay them for capacity charge because they've declared availability. So I suspect that's the reason why some people are not producing, but they are getting paid because, mind you, what is being paid to them is not just energy charges. It's the capacity plus energy charge that they pay them. So if we go sign a contract and we say we'll give somebody fuel to generate and we are not giving them the fuel, they will still charge their capacity. They will collect their capacity charges. But whatever it is, if you look at what led to this revision of the cash waterfall mechanism, it wasn't working, and then this thing was revived. This was done in June 2023. That's when the new model was put in place. Just check. Let's follow the trend. Are we even getting the 1 billion that is supposed to allow everybody to get the money? And is the exchange rate that was used to determine the 43 million US dollars, that if you check June 2023, the exchange rate has changed significantly. So if ECG is not doing 1 billion and the exchange rate has also worsened, then you still have little money to distribute to everybody. On top of that, Ministry of Finance, if you look at the cash waterfall mechanism, Ministry of Finance is supposed to pay whatever shortfall that is due the state-owned utilities. They are not paying that as well. So that's the current problem. There is cash crunch in the power sector. And bottom line, if we are buying X amount of power and there's tariff for that power, the one who is buying the power should be able to collect the power they sell and pay everybody in the value chain.
Dr. Donko, you see clearly that this is a case of someone working and someone enjoying, because VRS says, I'm doing over 1,500 megawatts. Someone is doing 800, but he is enjoying steadily $43 million a month, and I am not being paid for what I supply. How do we ensure that there is equity here to ensure that VRA gets paid for what it supplies?
It's unfortunate the VRA senior staff are putting up this impression. They should understand contracts better. VRA's biggest asset is hydro, with a capacity of 1,020, and then if you add the coal with a capacity of 160. So if VRA is producing largely using hydro is a legacy asset. And therefore, our obligations, we have repaid all the loans for the VRA, the two hydros. And therefore, the cash crunch on VRA is not the same as for the thermal plants. In any case, a number of the VRA thermal plants are simple cycle plants. They are not efficient. That is the bottom line. The thermal plant is a simple cycle plant. And therefore, it will use more fuel to produce 1 megawatt than, let's say, VRA's own TAPCO in Takoradi, if it is running. So the senior staff, they have legitimate concerns, but they are also expressing them extremely. They are playing to the public gallery in the presentation.
But Doc, I mean, isn't it a worry that someone is doing over 1,000 megawatt and someone is doing 800, but he's being paid than the one who's producing more?
Again, that is not accurate.
Okay.
That is not accurate.
What's accurate then?
On some days, we are generating up about 3,000 or 2,500. So it can, that number, they have just chosen a particular day and used that. And as with data, you can pick data on different days and get different outcomes. And that again is not right. I appreciate where BRA is coming from. The question of the cash waterfall mechanism. Remember, the policy was introduced in 2015 when I was minister. The cash waterfall mechanism was never meant to be a solution to the cash crunch. It was meant to, and is still meant to, more efficiently distribute what is collected. So when there is an under-recovery in collection, the cash waterfall will not breach the under-recovery. However, what it does is, unlike the previous regime, where ECG decided how much to pay each player in the sector, and in any case, let me put this across, every player in the sector is being underpaid. That is the bottom line. Even with the $43 million agreed that IPP should be paid, that is not the invoice price. They are rolling over the difference between invoice price and what they are paid into the future. And that is why they are building up a debt stock for the next government. And that is extremely worrying. So let's not create the impression that the IPPs are being paid all that they are being paid their invoice prices. They are not.
So it means it's a worry that a debt is being accumulated.
Absolutely.
How do we then deal with it and also ensure that VRA, which is the state enterprise in this space, is well liquidated to ensure they continue doing the things they're doing efficiently?
Yeah. Let me also clear this. VRA is not the only state enterprise in the power sector. There is Greco, which is also 100% owned by the good people of Ghana.
And Greco has also been crying about non-payment.
Yes. So that is why I am saying that the underpayment cuts across all players. It is not simply a VRA situation. Bui Power is probably the worst. VRA is far better than Bui Power because VRA has international contracts and their contracts with the mines and they are paid for those ones. Bui Power's only customer is ECG. And ECG, some months, only pays less than 40% to Bui Power of their invoice. So let's not create the impression that it is only VRA. We have a liquidity challenge. We have a challenge of under-recovery. We have a challenge of the impact of poor macroeconomic management on the power sector.
Okay. Well, to be fair, they have been stating that it is them and other state enterprises in the power sector who are underpaid. So they acknowledge that point.
No, again, that is not the whole truth. The truth is that the IPPs are also underpaid.
Okay.
So every player is underpaid. So we have a challenge. And it's a legitimate concern they raise. But let's not create the impression that it is only VRA that is underpaid or only the SOEs. Everybody in that value chain, including ECG.
Okay, Doctor, I'm grateful. Let me begin. Nanamwesi, the power sector is central to national development, be it industrialization, commerce, service. How do we overcome these challenges that the sector is plagued with and ensure that one party won't try scoring 1 point over the other?
Well, Kojo, I think that other panelists have put it right, that we have a crunch in the system. Until we are able to collect the revenues efficiently, we'll continue struggling as a country to meet the demands of the various assets or utilities, be it a state-owned enterprise or an IPP. What we must do as a country is to invest, particularly in the ECG, where the leakages exist, and ensure that we have the right tariffs, the right billing system, and the right revenue collection system, a very robust one, supported by technology. We must get to a point where we are able to identify thefts easily and able to collect our revenues on time. Thank God we have prepayment system, yet as a country, we still have some customers that are postpaid. And that's where the problem lies. And most of these customers may be found within the government, structure or entities. If we're able to do all this and ensure that each person is paying the right tariff and is paying on time, or the ECG is collecting on time, and distributing equitably and transparently to all the sector players, every asset within this value chain, be it the transmitter or the power producer or distributor or fuel supplier, will be, of course, retooled enough or financed enough to address their challenges in the sector. Then, of course, the fuel supply dimension. Kojo, let me put this forward. We can understand the frustration of the VRA, and they must channel this towards government.
Okay, all right.
If they can also work with their export partners, the people that buy their power, so that they can prepay or pre-finance some of this fuel that will need to generate more power, it could be a good idea.
Okay.
But at least let's reference the export market for the VRA so that they can have some form of assurance of revenue flow at this moment.
Okay, thank you very much. Nana Mweshi, I'm grateful to you for joining us. He is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security. Dr. Kwabena Donkor is former Power Minister. And Ishmael Ejekumhene is Executive Director for KITE. Well, that's it for Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.
You listening to me on the radio. I know exactly what you need. And I go sort you out. But first, a quick introduction. Maybe the connection man. I'll make things happen. Whether it be business, fashion, or the latest trend in town, I go connect you. I know when people connect, big things they happen. I am the plug to your plug. Anything you want, I go show you where options they line them up for you. You want download or you want stream? Link up. I got you. I conquer everywhere. From circle to KJT. If you come to Navrum, Jiosu to Kita, Techima to Kumbungu. I'll be the link between you and the next big opportunity. It be me where I go connect you, make it happen. Oh, you want to know my name? I am Telecel.
Switch to Telecel for the best value voice and data services and connect to the things that matter. Connecting dreams, connecting goals, connecting passions.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
December is just around the corner and our nation stands at a crossroads. Will we continue down the same path or will we forge a new one together? The choice is ours, but we need every voice to be heard. That is why the New Force is investing time and resources to educate and encourage everyone about the voters' ID card registration. To all of you out there unsure if your vote matters, your voice matters. Your vote is your power and your opportunity to shape the future of our motherland. Don't let others decide for you. Don't stay silent. Get up, get out there, and get your voter's ID card today. Make sure you are ready to make a difference when the time comes. Don't delay. Act now. From the 7th to the 27th of May, and on the 30th of May, you can replace all missing ID cards. Every vote counts. Your vote, your destiny. A message from Nana Kwame Bediako and the New Force.
This Toyota engine is always grumpy. That's because it doesn't use Toyota oil. This is what it sounds like every day.
You really won't go now? Okay, make we try go.
And this Toyota engine uses Toyota oil. Listen to the difference.
Good morning, everybody. Is it time to leave yet? It'll be my pleasure to take you wherever you want to go.
Nothing makes your engine happier than Toyota Genuine Motor Oil. Because it's made specifically with your Toyota in mind, it will bring out the best in your Toyota engine. Toyota Genuine Motor Oil. Available at Toyota Ghana Company Limited.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, cement manufacturers called the bluff of Trade Minister to immediately reverse recent increase in cement prices, saying the minister's directive is without a sound basis.
It can't work because the point is that with the directive doesn't come with any basis. Because the point is that the price increases came with basis.
We'll get to hear from the minority on Parliament's Works and Housing Committee, who are asking the minister to focus on the plummeting value of the cedi before implementing directives on cement prices.
So if the minister is just giving an open directive or a blank directive without considering what goes into the manufacturing of the cement, I think that he will not be fair to the producers of the cement.
Also tonight, NDC demands an independent bipartisan parliamentary probe into missing voter registration devices and the conduct of the EC in ongoing limited voter registration.
We insist on the initiation of an independent bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the conduct of the Electoral Commission, particularly focusing on the stolen BVR kits. We would accept nothing less than full accountability and immediate remedial action to restore faith in our electoral process.
Details as the NDC insists there are more errors in the registration figures being produced by the EC.
They claim the total number of registered voters over the 4 days remain unchanged. This situation exemplifies what we term transpositional rigging of elections. The assertion by the EC that these errors in regional figures did not impact the total count is patently misleading.
And we hear from the EC as they warn the police are under instructions to deal with agents instructed by the NDC to get serial numbers of registration devices.
The idea that the NDC wants to get the serial numbers to be able to track, I think it's much ado about nothing. And when you are an agent at the registration center, you have your limits. Our officers will not allow you to cross. It's just a matter of directing the police officer that we don't want this agent here.
Also tonight, bulk oil distributors fight government over directive to privatize oil refinery Central not to sell its refined crude directly to local bulk oil distributors as part of the controversial gold for oil deal.
Why on earth would anybody even conceive of the idea that even for Centio's own, we should go to Boss to buy from Centio, whilst people have started building relationship with them?
We'll get to hear from the managing director of the bulk oil storage and transportation company, BOST, as he defends the directive.
Expect government to sit down aloof and put the petroleum security of this country in the hands of a foreigner without any control. When Central hadn't requested to join gold for oil, it was not a problem.
Central's refined crude, you're buying it with gold.
Obviously.
And in business, Unilever hints of plans to pass on the cost or the rising cost of production to consumers.
And in sports, Black Starlets boss Lai Kingston reiterates desire to end Ghana's 7-year under-17 AFCON hiatus.
And then much later, Prem College Robotics team places Ghana on the global stage as they secure first and second positions in various robotics games at the World Robotics Competition in the USA.
Actually very excited, but by God's grace, we're able to compete with some of the brilliant minds and still come in first and second.
That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do all to join us with your thoughts, and your comment is via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Evans Mensah. Let's start with that raging story around the depreciating cedi and how it's affecting lives across the country. Now it's having an impact on cement prices, and that is generating a fair bit of controversy. We're hearing tonight that the cement manufacturers are on a warpath with the Trade Minister, Governor Tahir Hammond, you know him as Katie Hammond, serving a strong notice. They will not comply with the ministry's directive to immediately reverse cement increases, the price increases in cement across the country.
Now, in a statement, the ministry said this directive is to check arbitrary increases in cement prices. Kwekwa Santi gives us details of the statement issued by the ministry.
Well, according to Governor Tahir Hammond, the MP, and the specifics of what they want to do to ensure that cement pricing in the country is checked. He says he has instructed the CMDC to immediately instruct the cement manufacturing companies to do this reversal immediately. The minister, recalling his directive to the CMDC at this inauguration on the 8th March, further requested the publication of the retail prices of cement by all cement manufacturers in the country in a bid to stop the continuous arbitrary increases in cement prices. He further reiterated his call to the CMDC to work with cement companies to ensure uniform cement prices nationwide, adopting a unified cement pricing mechanism akin to the unified petroleum pricing formula adopted by the National Petroleum Authority.
But the chief executive of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers, Dr. George Dawson-Amwa, says the ministry's directive lacks the basis for them to accept it.
In the first place, it came as a surprise, as something that we never expected. Come to think of the relationship that we've built with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. I would say to an authority that the cement industry will be, I think, if not the only industry or one of the industries that have established a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Trade and Industry because of the sensitivity of the product. Because of how economically the product is being, seen in the country. You're talking about cement, and he's talking about the use of cement, infrastructure, buildings, blah, 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 blah. They put it that way. So we established that relationship. And one of the key areas for this memorandum of understanding is to judge so that we really look into what goes into cement production in terms of cost. So that at least at the ending point in time, the cement prices will be stabilized. Among other things, just to ensure there's fairness in the competition. Now, there is actually tense competition because there are a lot of manufacturers. And again, the sensitivity of this product in terms of quality, we should ensure that the quality is always actually complied with. Because when producing substandard cement, you know the consequences, collapse of buildings. So, all these put together, we've really established a very good relationship with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So on this, it comes as a shock because surprise that, hey, these people have increased their price. The first approach out, I really think the best approach that the minister should have done was to call us for a meeting.
So you're expecting a more of a forum where they'll privately engage you, the manufacturers, than a fiat being issued?
Exactly, because the point is that we are talking about production here. We are talking about, manufacturing here. So it means the outcome. And we are talking about production cost. That leads to prices. And these manufacturers who are into that business, that professional business, considering all factors have come with a price, definitely they have a basis. They have a justification. Then you see somewhere, just issue a directive that, hey, just like reverse it. On what basis?
Are you going to comply with that directive of reversing the prices?
It can't work. Because the point is that with the directive doesn't come with any basis. Because the point is that the price increases came with basis. City depreciation, cement production is hinged on importation, clinker, and other allied, equipment, spare parts, whatever. And the ministry knows it. About 75%, 80% of the raw materials, they are imported, dollar-based. And my brother, for 3 months, you're talking about, a cedi to dollar, 11 to 15. And you have an industry whereby it's solely, heavily dependent on importation.
Well, it's also left the Association of Ghana Industries pretty upset also. We can listen to the CEO of the association, Chuma Kwabwa, who is asking the ministry to rather open lines of communications with the cement manufacturers to determine whether there is a justification for the price hikes instead of issuing a blanket directive.
I think what will happen is that the ministry should have a discussion with the cement manufacturers. Firstly, there's a technical committee that even looks at the cement manufacturing prices. So we can discuss this at that level and then analyze to see the increase that has come about as a result of the cedi depreciation and other factors in the market. And when that analysis is done, we will see whether there's a justification for interest or not. So I think that is what should happen, and then we'll subsequently come back to the populace and let you know whether the prices should be maintained, increase further, or come down. For us, we are neutral because we appreciate the concern when prices are going up. It affects the citizen, it affects everybody. But we are also mindful that we also have to protect the company so that they can keep their jobs for us. So let's look at it from that angle, meet the minister, and then we'll discuss the details as to the reason behind it and whether it's justified or not.
But the concern is there really a mechanism in place as we speak to regulate how these prices are set? Or it just happens when you feel that the dollar has gone up or the prices are affecting the manufacturing, it just goes up?
I don't think that any manufacturer suddenly increases prices because one cost item has gone up. No manufacturer does that. Once you do so, very soon you'll be out of business because you have other competing products all the time. So either you have a direct substitute or indirect substitute. So normally what happens is that they look at it over a period. If the depreciation or whatever cost is consistent over a long period, and then it gets to a point where you cannot recover with your current price, then adjust overnight because there has been increase in a particular cost item. Normally it's not done.
Well, we've been interacting with some cement retailers and they've begun adjusting the price of cement on the market today. And they spoke to my colleague, Esther Nkrumah.
The prices of cement has surged drastically. prompting the Minister for Trades and Industry to urge cement manufacturing organizations to reduce their prices. We've been to several shops here in Accra to interact with traders as to why the price of the cement keeps increasing. I spoke to a particular trader who said that he had to increase his price by 10 cedis just this morning. So the cement he used to sell for 82 cedis is now selling for 92 cedis. I spoke to another trader who says that she's been forced to increase the price to 105 cedis. They complain that customers do not come to buy their product like they used to. And some of them have attributed the increase in the price of cement to the decline in the value of the cedi. From Accra, Esther AC Nkrumah.
So that's what Esther found, and we are told that even at some point it's 112 cedis for a bag of cement. Well, interesting times.
And I'm pretty sure you know, and you've built already, so you are out of the woods. But for those who are currently in the process of building, this will be a nightmare for them. Let's bring in Sami Amerigabo, who is the Executive Secretary of GRADA. That's the Association of Ghanaian Builders in that particular industry. That joins us on the line right now. Thank you, sir, Sami, for your time here on Newsnight. The conversation we're having is about cement prices. What's your experience on the ground as you build for the Ghanaian market?
Thank you, and good evening to your listeners and viewers as well. Cement forms a major component when it comes to building and construction. And so anything that's significant that affects the pricing significantly affect our operations and activities. And so to be hearing that cement prices have gone up again, for us, I think it is a bit on a bad taste. It's a bit of a bad taste to us. There are so many issues happening. We are all confronted with several challenges, and so to be hearing of this astronomical increases, I mean, I'm shocked to hear prices have gone up by 10 cedis, 12 cedis, and even more based on your news reporting. It is very surprising, and I think it's going to significantly affect what we do and what we put on the market.
Is it affecting the cost of homes now?
Definitely. We are our business is a form of manufacturing, and we are in the business of manufacturing houses, which takes a long time to start and finish. Unlike supermarket items where it can be produced overnight, where you can easily factor in your cost element and determine everything. Our case is not like that. You start a project, you start with the foundation, and you'll be paying cement at 60 cedis. You get to the blockwork level at the superstructure, it goes to 70 cedis. You are doing the gabling, it is 80 cedis. Now you are doing plastering, you have to prove 100 cedis. How do you even determine the cost of the building under the circumstance? So such increments in prices of cement is very terrible for us.
Is this the worst you've seen?
No, not exactly. I remember during the COVID time, there were increments in certain building materials, iron rods and the rest, that were hitting about 42%. I think we saw that. And I think at a go, within a short space of time, this, I think, will be the worst hit I've seen in recent times.
And how long has it been since this price hikes have been experienced by yourselves? This trend that we've been reporting, is this recent in the last 2 weeks?
I think it has been like this for probably since last year. And it went up, those days it went up from around the 70, 80 Ghana cedis to 90, 100. And then there was some reduction at a point to where we were until we had this news again, shooting cement price from 80 to 96, and the rest that you are telling us right now. It's been happening within like this year.
The trade minister has directed that the cement manufacturers, there should be a reversal of some of the increases. He wants uniformity across the country. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, if a ministry of managing a particular sector issues such directives, it goes to confirm that they admit that there's a problem that is happening there, and so expression of a concern is fair and fine, and it sounds refreshing. However, issuing a directive of this nature, one will have to ask that what are the fundamental causes of the cement price increment? than to just issue a directive. For us, if you reduce the price of cement today, tomorrow, we'll be very happy. But we have to be very fair because we are all in the business of manufacturing. And so one wonders how the fundamental issues that cause the cement prices to go up has not been addressed or mentioned at all by the minister or the ministry, and only issuing directives for it to come down. How would they come down when the fundamental issues that have been expressed by Dr. Dawson have not been handled, and yet you expect the manufacturers to come down on their prices? Secondly, when you were issuing that directive, what was the support from the part of government? What were the initiatives from the part of government to help the manufacturers to bring the price down? This was not stated in the directives. I didn't see any concern, the concern expressed, but I didn't see any proposal from the part of government to reduce the prices to help reduce the prices of cement. And Dr. Dawson gave you the reasons. He said the CD dollar exchange rate has also been a problem. The dollar today is 14.5, and depending on where you get it from, it's even heading towards 15. What has been done in this area? They will complain about importation freight costs. What has been done in that area? The international prices of cement also has gone up. We had manufacturers and real estate developers and users of cement had a meeting with the hierarchy of parliament some time ago. All these issues came up, and since then, I have not seen any directive from government to help bring these issues, for solutions, only to be issued with directives. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on this subject.
Let's bring in the Deputy Ranking Member on the Works and Housing Committee, Andrew Dari Chiwete. And I'm happy that Greda makes reference to a meeting that was held between stakeholders and Parliament. But first off, this directive will definitely cushion the public. We've been hearing from the manufacturers as well. From where you sit, what do you really make of this directive, actually?
Hello, is the question to me?
That's to you, Mr. Chiwete.
All right, thank you so much for having me. Good evening to your cherished listeners. When your colleague called me and talked about this directive, I took a lot of time, and I was wondering why the minister should do such a directive. And I started to wonder whether he actually sat with the manufacturers, whether he engaged the manufacturers, whether he listened to their plight before giving the directive. I'm sure the minister is aware that at the port, manufacturers of cement pay so much import duty, very high import duties. They pay a lot of taxes, including this fumigation tax that is not necessary. We still pay COVID-19 taxes, very high electricity bills, very high water bills, and of course, the gargantuan depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. And so that is why we should be wondering whether the minister engaged the producers of cement to listen to them before giving the directive. In fact, you don't just wake up as a minister and give such directives without thinking or without looking at the consequences. What I would advise the minister to do is to see how, as a government, they will work on the cedi. They should stabilize the cedi, and that is what Ghanaians are looking for. And so the minister should let the vice president quickly come back to Accra, sit down and look at how they work as a government to arrest the dollar.
Okay, but some time back, at least, you engaged the stakeholders together with the ministry and all those who matter when it comes to this industry. It doesn't look like there was a proper plan that came out for us to deal with this in the future. What's there?
The fact is that when we met the industry players, we just listened to them. They raised the issues that are enumerated, and they felt that they would need government intervention. As we talk, government has not made any move to support them. And of course, they are into business to make profit. And so no businessman will want to put his money into such investment and will not recoup that, his profit or his money back. And so we met them. But of course, we only empathize with them. And we as a committee do not have that strength. That is what the government should be looking at. We have listened to them. The ministry, I'm sure, has also listened to them. What effort has government been doing to supplement what the industry players are doing? And so for me, giving the directive is not the best.
Okay.
Yes.
And hearing from them, it appears that there was no intervention at all. At least we've heard from the manufacturers. We've heard from the AGI as well. And those of you who are affected, if you're building, really, how much are you buying it today? Let us know. It's 055 11 997.
And this is your election headquarters. And election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in full quantity, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICPA, and CIMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, and Chopbox Technologies, a convenient experience. And Apawu, there's some more fire on top of that mountain when it comes to the elections ahead from the camp of the NDC as they are escalating their demands for a probe into the missing voter registration kits. They are also calling for a probe into the conduct of the Electoral Commission in the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. Guess what they want? They want a bipartisan parliamentary inquiry.
So the EC in an earlier news conference reviewed that 7 of their BVR kits had gone missing. The NDC says that situation, together with the EC's refusal to share the serial numbers of the kits being used in the ongoing registration, is a grave concern to them. General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Avikwete, at a news conference earlier today, raised some issues concerning the operations of the EC, specifically the use of faulty machines, inaccurate registration figures, and the abuse of the voter registration process. Michael Ashale was at that press conference. He's joined us in studio with some more details. So they raised 5 major issues which cuts across the general operations of the Electoral Commission. Let's start with issues of faulty kits and the decision to use the offline mode of registration.
Emefa, so the General Secretary of the NDC says that because of the faulty machines or the internet connectivity challenges they were facing in the beginning, the EC was forced to go offline. That the NDC still opposes. For them, this really opens the door to potential prejudice and manipulations, particularly in targeted districts and regions to the disadvantage of the NDC. Also, with regards to the BVRs, they mentioned specifically that in one of those areas, Western North region, there was a misallocation of BVRs, which was intended for one region and ended up in the Western North region.
The NDC unequivocally rejects the Electoral Commission's use of offline registrations, which could potentially cloak their inefficiencies under the guise of technical challenges. Such practices not only undermine the integrity of the electoral process, but are also ripe for exploitation, including data manipulation and introduction of errors that could skew the process outcome. BVRs intended for the eastern region to Akotumbra in the Western North region and Iwutu Senya East in the Central region. How can such fundamental errors be tolerated? Can we afford to let EC's work be riddled with such basic errors? Imagine the potential ramifications of similar mistakes on election day. These glaring failures have only reinforced our determination to demand a comprehensive audit of the Commission's equipment and ICT infrastructure before the polls on December 7, 2024. It has become clear that the EC cannot be trusted without stringent verification. This audit must encompass both hardware issues, such as outdated or incompatible equipment, and software vulnerabilities, including potential cyber threat to our electoral system. We are committed to ensuring the integrity of the biometric data previously captured and will leave no stone unturned in our pursuit of electoral transparency and accuracy.
Well, they also insist the EC is still churning out errors in the establishment of registration figures.
Yes, MFA. So they say, well, they raised issues over the weekend. The EC sought to rectify that. In their estimation, the EC only rectified the ones that they are publicly spoken about, that there were more. They went to the OT region where they mentioned that the 2 figures, there were some issues with it. So we can listen to him whilst he also walks us through the remaining regions.
For instance, the EC published the registration figures for days 1 to 4 of the limited registration exercise on their website and social media handle on May 11, 2024. However, they claim the total number of registered voters over the 4 days remain unchanged. This situation exemplifies what we term transpositional rigging of elections, where figures are shuffled between categories without affecting the overall total. The assertion by the EC that these errors in regional figures did not impact the total count is patently misleading.
Well, the issue of busing of minors and concerns about the conduct of security personnel came up, but it looks like the NDC is still not satisfied with the explanation from the EC about the serial numbers and the BVRs.
Yes, Emefa. So they say that pursuant to the directive from the chairman last week, their agents on the ground have started collecting it, even though the EC doubts that. They say that they have managed to get some, and they will need the EC to actually come clear with this.
In the issue of obtaining the serial numbers of BVR kits, we affirm our commitment to transparency, as articulated by our national chairman, Honorable Johnson Esiedu Nketia. We urge our registration agents to meticulously track and record the serial numbers of the BVRs used during the registration exercise. And we are proud to report that our agents have risen to this challenge, enabling us to accurately monitor the data generated by each BVR kit. We extend our deepest gratitude to our agents for their diligence and urge them to continue the vigilant oversight of the registration officials at all centers. Our insistence on documenting the serial numbers of the BVR kits is driven by commitment to accountability and transparency, not by any motive of malice. If the Electoral Commission truly upholds the principles of fairness and openness, it should have no reservations about allowing our agents to record these numbers. The ability to do so is crucial, particularly if there is nothing to conceal.
And then they made some demands on the EC itself and Parliament.
Yes, so 3 demands in general. The first one, that on the recruitment of some individuals who are being used by the EC should make it legal pursuant to CI 91. Again, there was a demand for a comprehensive audit of the Commission's equipment and ICT infrastructure, which clearly is where we are coming from, the serial number issue. And then finally, they're asking for an independent bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the conduct of the EC.
They can either conduct the duties they have been given with the integrity that the position demands and ensure a peaceful transition of power, or the EC will face the full strength of a united and determined opposition. The Electoral Commission must not merely sit up. It must rise to the occasion with urgency and transparency. The EC is compelled to address the 35 critical questions posed by the NDC regarding the theft of the biometric equipment. The gravity of these issues cannot be overstated, and we demand clear and prompt responses. Furthermore, we insist on the initiation of an independent bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the conduct of the Electoral Commission, particularly focusing on the stolen BVR kits, which were under CCTV surveillance at the Electoral Commission headquarters, and the mysterious disappearance of BVDs. Indeed, these EC actions in the coming days will signal its commitment or lack thereof to upholding the democratic process in Ghana. We would accept nothing less than full accountability and immediate remedial action to restore faith in our electoral process.
Well, on that controversy relating to the serial numbers of the BVDs, the EC had said there is no way they will give the serial numbers to the NDC. The NDC, however, have instructed their agents on the ground to get the serial numbers. In fact, they've confirmed to us already that their agents have the serial numbers. Well, we're hearing from the Electoral Commission. The Deputy Chair of the Commission, Dr. Bosman Asari, says the police are currently under instructions to deal with agents instructed by the NDC to get serial numbers of registration devices.
The idea that the NDC wants to get the serial numbers to be able to track, I think it's much ado about nothing. It's not going to yield any different, any due outcome. Because currently the NDC should know the number of total voters we have on our roll.
And when you said no, you won't give it out, the NDC said their agents should disregard you and that they should go ahead and get it.
That's why I'm surprised they are claiming that they've gotten it.
On the ground, since that directive was given by the party, what has been the relationship between your officers and the NDC agents?
Well, I think
since they are under instruction to get a serial number, you have said that you shouldn't.
They haven't reported anything untoward. And when you are an agent at the registration center, you have your limits. Our officers will not allow you to cross. You have your functions are clearly specified in our CI. So if you are an agent, it doesn't mean once you misconduct yourself, our officers will just at the E6 registration center, we have someone we call registration supervisor. He is in charge of the place. If the supervisor is not there, the registration officer. And the police don't take instructions from the parties. They take it when they are at the registration center or the polling station, they take instructions from the EC officials. So if you are an agent and they suspect any excesses on your part, it's just a matter of directing the police officer that we don't want this agent here. And that agent will be required to leave the registration center. Including
asking for a serial number. You find that as against the rules on the ground.
They can't ask. It's not part of their mandate. It's not part of their mandate to ask our officers to give them the serial numbers of our equipment.
Because the officers are under instruction not to give them.
They don't give them.
And if they insist, they should report them to the police.
The police. No, an agent cannot do that.
And that there is Dr. Bosman Asari, the Deputy Chair of the Electoral Commission.
Let's do business. I was wondering, though, whether he clarified what exactly the marching orders to the police is. Is it to start arresting these agents or what exactly? I'm sure he came
drive you away from the police station immediately.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do business, George.
Well, Emefa, coming up in business, Unilever to pass on part of rising cost of production to consumers, a development which could result in prices of their products going up. And cement manufacturers link increase in price of products to cities' depreciation as they rule out reversal, that they indicate their preparedness to engage the trade minister on the directive. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Synthesis Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Life is a stage and we're all players, playing the supporting role.
The title of my poem is
Playing with Rhythm. Playing the lead. Playing to win. Playing with gusto. Playing for the sheer thrill until the curtain falls. Because every journey begins with play. Kickstart yours with MTN. So, what are we doing today? MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So, remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So, Remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough.
Choboy! We have a new leader in town. OBRNTA. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe mamu more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe mamu lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello CEOs, the 8th Ghana CEO Summit and Expo is set to take place on May 27, 2024 at the Kempinski Hotel from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Since 2016, the summit has led impactful business leadership. Renowned for satisfying CEOs' needs, it offers actionable perspectives, strategic insights, and business opportunities. This year's theme is reigniting business and economic growth, charting a path forward, economic diversification, and artificial intelligence transformation. The summit promises CEO business cases, high-level dialogues, masterclasses, keynotes, and plenaries. The event is also a platform for the Ghana CEO Excellence Awards, celebrating outstanding business leadership and innovation. Former distinguished guests include President Nana Akufo-Addo, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and ex-President John Mahama. Secure your spot at GhanaCEOSummit.com and contact 0546 391 970 for enquiries and sponsorship. Powered by the Ghana CEO Network in collaboration with Deloitte, PwC, Ministry of Public Enterprises, GIPC, and Multimedia Group. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, Ghana. Are you tired of the same old political rhetoric? Do you believe it is time for a change that truly represents the voices of our youth, women, and children? I present to you Nana Kwame Bediako. He is a visionary leader with a passion for making our country better through innovative industrial revolution. Together, we can change the political narrative and create a government that truly represents the interest of all citizens. Join this journey to build a better and inclusive future for all by contributing to our Save Ghana Fund campaign. Your support, no matter the amount, is not just a donation. It is an investment in the shared desire for a more prosperous, equitable, and better nation. To donate, visit www.nkb.com.gh or dial *887 *2024 #. Thank you for your support.
Showtime! Good life time! Paddy, how is your good life?
Hey, before you attack that sumptuous variety of foods with Toto, do yourself a favor.
Wash your hands with soap under running water, your bowl before you eat, and at all other critical moments. That is,
before you cook, after you visit the toilet, change your baby's diaper,
and when you return home from anywhere.
Let's all come aboard Good Life by washing our hands with soap under running water and at all other critical moments to keep the germs away from our family. Good Life, live it well. It's an everyday thing. Good Life from Ghana Health Service and partners with support from USAID.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, cement manufacturers are linking the increase in prices of their products to the city's depreciation. This, they say, has resulted in the cost of their production hitting the roof, making it difficult not to review prices. They've therefore rejected push by the Trade Minister, Katie Hammond, to reverse the increase. Manufacturing firms, however, maintain that they are committed to engaging government on the issue. Dr. George Donsanamwa is the chief executive of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers.
It's something we call Sankofa. The minister, as a matter, we still recognize the ministry as our sector ministry. Not to wait. Just reverse it and just call us for a meeting. That is exactly what he has to more or less, do. Just call us for a meeting because this directive between me and you will not work. Because the point is that what is the basis? The point, like I tell you, this is a professional and a technical, industry whereby things are just do not just come out just like that. Really, they're talking about production costs against what you call prices and against margin. It's investment, my brother. It's huge investment, and they are protecting their investment. And the cost drivers too. They are known, and the reason for the increase is known. Though, I mean, out of the blues, you call for an investor without giving a counter basis. This one is.
And that is Dr. Jodo Sanamwa. He's the chief executive of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers. Now, consumer goods manufacturing giant Unilever Ghana has indicated that it may soon have to pass on the part of the rising cost of production to consumers. Now, most firms have started increasing prices due to the challenging environment. However, some have argued that big firms and Unilever Ghana could absorb the cost. But speaking to journalists during their media engagement, Managing Director Chris Caesar said they'll try their best to be efficient to reduce the cost on consumers.
If you look at the economy of Ghana, there's a lot of things that we actually import inflation into this country by virtue of the way the shape of the economy is. And I guess if we need to continue to produce, because we're a manufacturing and commercial concern, not a charity, and therefore it's important not to undermine the value that shareholders have put in this business. And therefore there are times that we have to look at our entire value chain, look at the cost structure and see what we can take and what the consumer would have to pay for. Where it is related to inflation, which is not necessarily something that is caused by Unilever as a concern, obviously we will have to pass that on to the consumer. And that is a fact in pretty much any market that you go. So we will continue to work in making sure that from our internal point of view, we remain very efficient so that we don't need to pass our inefficiency on to the consumer.
Managing Director of Unilever Ghana, Chris Caesar. Two other stories on the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has revealed that some more international airlines have expressed interest in flying out of the Kumasi International Airport. Director General of the authority, Engineer Charles Kweku, says that engagement have started with two international airlines that he believes will go well. He spoke to Joy Business at the authorities at the 8th anniversary celebration.
As the airport is concerned, it's now an international airport. And what we plan is that we want to have discussions with airlines that will fly directly from Kumasi to Europe, to other African countries. Other airlines have expressed interest, so we are in discussions with them. And we want to make a Kumasi a hub, a big airport, which will have bigger aircraft and then utilize the new airport that has been contracted. So new airlines will be coming. They will join what we have currently, like the African World Airlines and the Passion Air, so that Kumasi Airport facilities will be utilized to the maximum.
Engineer Charles Kweku is the Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Now, German Ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Daniel Crow, says Ghana is gradually losing its position as the #1 investment destination in the West African region. According to the ambassador, other countries within the region offer more attractive investment climate for businesses. He spoke to Joy Business in an interview on the sidelines of the AFTA Africa Trade and Aviation Conference in Accra.
We don't have really new dynamics in recent years, and I think that's something we should look into more closely. And I'm afraid it's partially due to the fact that Ghana has lost a little bit its competitive edge compared to other countries in the region who today offer a more attractive business climate for investors than Ghana does today. So I think this is something, again, it's about the competition of nations, and Ghana should take up this challenge and try to regain its #1 position as leading investment destination in West Africa.
His Excellency Daniel Crow is Ghana's, that is German ambassador to Ghana, and there is some interesting development on the forex market because for the third day running, the forex bureaus are still quoting 14 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos as the selling price for their dollar. Now, the development could be a far departure from earlier this week and even last week, where the dollar was virtually changing every day. To the stock market, the MTN lost a peso and is now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 79 pesos. GCB was up by 3 pesos and is now worth 4 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos. And on PM Express Business Edition tonight, we're looking at the state of the banking sector in Ghana today. Our financial institutions really struggling. We engage in the MD and Chief Executive of First Bank Ghana, Victor Yasanti. Even as we explore development in the banking space, the challenges, and why some of them might be looking at downsizing and moving outside. All these at 9 p.m. on PM Express, on Joy News, and all our social media platforms.
You want to make a date. Thank you very much, George. And Daniel Granton is here with sports. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Evans. Let's go straight into the stories. And Ghana's Black Starlets have one foot in the semi-finals of the ongoing WAFU Zone B Under-17 competition after yesterday's massive 5-1 win over Ivory Coast. Ghana could already be through to the semi-finals by the time they play again on Tuesday if the game between Ivory Coast and Benin ends in a draw. The Starlets will have to reach the final of the competition to qualify for the Under-17 AFCON. Ghana has failed to qualify for the Under-17 AFCON since 2017. And their head coach, Laie Kingston, is bent on ending that drought.
For us, we're taking it a game at a time. And it's true that since 2017, we've not enjoyed like what we are good at. You know, previously, our youth teams are very, very good. It's something that Ghanaians are craving for. The first day I came down to Ghana, my aim is to change the narrative, meaning qualifying the team. Since 2017, we need to qualify the team.
You had Black Starlets boss Laie Kingston speaking there. Bring that into sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Daniel. It was part of desperate measures to address the free fall of the cedi and control price hikes of petroleum products at the pumps. In a controversial extension of the gold for oil policy, it has emerged tonight that government is now using gold to buy refined crude for Ghana's largest private refinery, Central. Now, the arrangement will limit the amount of dollars the company will need to buy crude, lessening the pressure on the depreciating cedi. Now, under the arrangement, a refined crude from Central will be dispatched now to the bulk oil storage and transportation company, and then for onward sale to bulk oil distributors. Now, this has pitched the BDCs against the government as they reject the idea of going through BOST to purchase refined petroleum products. Now, listen to the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Dr. Patrick Ofori.
Those members have set up their businesses and their business structures that's not, they don't deal with BOST. If I have a partnership with Vitol, Glencore, or BP, you're saying that because I'm unable to, I should compulsively cancel those long-standing contracts and go and buy from BOST. Is that a good business practice? Relationship that you've built over years. Because the currency depreciated, Russia-Ukraine war, that these BDCs had got nothing to do with it. Initially, they set up a propaganda to create a situation that the BDCs were the cause of the cedi depreciating. Now we've at least seen that they are not the ones who were doing that. When they set out that, we decided to sit back carefully and do our analysis of the market and try and take our time patiently to see how we can support our members to coexist. Any attempt that sections of government who are in support of ensuring that the G4O covers all the private sector so that we all will have equal stake at the table, individuals within the government who are directly beneficiaries of the G4O program would do anything to prevent the other side of government from even listening to the private sector participate. If they want fair and equitable market structure, they should allow each and every one of us to also cede our money to Bank of Ghana so that Bank of Ghana guarantee us the same rate, guarantee the same tax waiver that the gold aggregators under the G4O enjoy. Why on earth could anybody even conceive of the idea that even for Centio's own, we should go to BOST to buy from Centio, whilst people have started building relationship with them?
But the managing director of BOST, Dr. Edwin Provençal, dismisses the concerns, insisting the policy is necessary to guarantee the petroleum security of the country.
Expect government to sit down aloof and put the petroleum security of this country in the hands of a foreigner without any control. The government, in its own wisdom, in trying to ensure that it will control the petroleum security of this country, is trying to make interventions to ensure that a foreigner does not hold the country to ransom.
Is that why
And
you are asking the BDCs to buy from Bosch and not directly from Facebook?
I am not asking any BDC to buy from Bosch. There's a policy from government which is saying that to ensure equity in the market, to ensure that because our refinery is not working, to ensure that when the products are refined, when Central hadn't requested to join gold for oil, it was not a problem. But the moment they requested to join gold for oil, there's a gold for oil structure. Am I lying or not? And government is saying that if you join the gold for oil, then follow the existing structure for gold for oil.
So what it is right now, Central's refined crude, you're buying it with gold.
Obviously. And once they've joined the gold for oil, then the structure that exists for gold for oil should remain. That is all that is being said.
And you're buying all 100% refined product from Central with gold, all 100%.
If we can't buy it, I'm sure others will buy it.
Everything that Central produces, we buy everything 100% with gold.
We need to make time to have that discussion.
That would take a yes or no. You buy 100%.
I won't give you a yes or no. You need to make time to have that discussion because I need to put it in the context.
And that there is the managing director of Bosch, Dr. Edwin Provenza.
Now, let me tell you about the story of Eno Quigrin. She's a mother of 3. In 2017, she welcomed her first child. Little did she know that the arrival of her bundle of joy would also sink her into the depths of what health professionals call postpartum depression. Well, it's a mental condition that affects new mothers and may lead to thoughts of self-harm and in extreme cases cause mothers to harm their own babies. Enjoy this latest mini documentary titled Hidden Battles. My colleague Emmanuel Jivenu sheds light on the silent struggles faced by many new mothers in Ghana.
The cry of a newborn baby brings immense joy. For some mothers, the days after delivery bring not only physical changes, but also emotional struggles that can be difficult to navigate.
I started to sink into depression, and I didn't even notice that was what was happening. All I knew was that I wasn't happy, and I also knew I wasn't bonding with my baby properly. You don't like your baby, you don't even want to be a mother. It's like, is this thing for me? The thing that is so hyped, this wasn't really living up to my expectations.
Mothers seeking help should see it as a sign of strength and not weakness. Postpartum mental depression is treatable.
The first thing is identifying that this person has a problem.
Stigma surrounding postpartum depression is prevalent in Ghanaian society, making it difficult for mothers to openly discuss their feelings or seek professional help.
People usually dismiss women when they say they experience something like that.
We bring the person to see a psychiatrist. We assess the person and then we intervene so that we shorten the illness. The aim is to shorten it as much as possible. And in extreme cases, I've said that it can lead to self-harm on the mother's side and even death of the baby, called infanticide. So you can imagine that potentially it's quite dangerous.
That there is a story worth paying attention to. And I know women who go through that, it is traumatic for them. It's on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. And I know you are a fan of the boys who go to Prempeh College, particularly the one gentleman in our newsroom called Kweku Owusu-Pepra. You're a fan of them.
Yeah.
Well, they're making you proud actually tonight, because they've been participating in the prestigious World Robotics competition held in the United States, and they've come up tops. In fact, overall they placed second, but in the particular division where we're looking at unknown mission games, they were first. That is remarkable indeed. We have more in the foreign report.
The crowning achievement came as the Prempeh College Robotics team clinched first place in the Unknown Mission Challenge, making it the 4th time they have won that category. The team's remarkable journey to success began long before they set foot on the global stage. Months of rigorous training, dedication, and innovation resulted in their outstanding performance, earning accolades not only for themselves but also for the country. The headmaster of the school, Very Reverend Lewis Asari, recounted that it took lots of efforts to prepare the students for the global stage competition.
We are giving holistic education, and we wouldn't want our students to be brainy and yet being, limited in hands-on activities. The World Championship, last year we won, and this year too we have. It is very expensive embarking on such robotic activities. Equipment, everything are very expensive, and so we will wish that people will come in. Corporate entities, the government, in fact, the government is doing his part.
The robotics team told the media that the win was not without challenges, but they were poised for the golden medal. Emmanuel Kweku Opompepra is the team lead.
For Prempeh College, we went with 2 teams. Each team competed in 2 different categories. The first category was the UMC, which stands for the Unknown Mission Challenge. In that challenge, we are given 2 hours to perform a task, but before we get to the competition grounds, the task is completely unknown. So prior to the 2 hours, we are given the challenge to solve. Under the 2 hours to solve the task. The next category is known as the game category. But for that category, we're given the task months earlier, where the robot is supposed to identify pedestrians which are represented by golf balls, and then send them to their various locations. Some of the pedestrians, their locations are unknown, so the robot will actually have to sense some barcodes so that it will know where to send each pedestrian. We came first in the Unknown Mission Challenge and second place in the game. There were some challenges along the way. Some of the major challenges are with some of our sensors. Sometimes they trip up a bit, so you have to actually make sure you calibrate them well so that they don't end up spoiling the run. We are actually very excited that by God's grace we're able to compete with some of the brilliant minds and still come in first and second. From here we hope to do even greater things for our country and for the world at large.
And congratulations
Champion.
to Prempeh College there. You made Emefa proud.
Very, very proud. And you as well.
Yes, of course. They make Ghana proud.
Yeah, NSMQ champions, now World Robotics champions. Well, it's time for Personality Profile. I'm particularly excited about this edition. Guess who we are hosting?
Well, a lady with a surname that will ring a bell. She is Dr. Karen Ajiman Prempeh. Does it ring a bell?
Yeah, princess. Oh.
Yeah, a princess. Yes, yes. Should we tell them, or we should?
No, we should leave it.
Okay.
Just stay for her.
Okay. Should we give them a clue?
The father just celebrated 74th
birthday
and then 25th
anniversary.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Just stay tuned. Lexis Bale will reveal all shortly.